How wonderful that some of you already got to visit a mosque. You're very fortunate here in Atlanta because you have many mosques, many opportunities to reach out to our Muslim brothers and sisters. In the whole state of Vermont, where I hail from, we have one. So you have no reason to not visit. It's right around the corner from you. There are mosques everywhere. And it's important that we visit because Islam is the most misunderstood and the most maligned religion in the world today. We are being whipped up into fear of Muslims. And when we are afraid, we're stupid, actually. We're operating out of just that reptilian part of our brain. When we're afraid, we don't have access to our higher functionings, our whole self, the power of the knowledge in our hearts, our whole being. We're resigned to a small place of living. Ali, the son-in-law of the prophet, says, people are afraid of what they don't understand. So my hope today is to share with you a little bit about what I love about Islam in order to invite you to a place of more understanding and less fear. Islam is very practical. If you are looking for insights about how to live a good life, how to be a good person, Islam has wonderful gems to offer to you. One of the things I love most about Islam is that it invites us to be concerned about what is the most important thing in life. To get our priorities straight. What is it for you? Stuff? Money? Power, prestige, family, kindness, service, love, art, compassion. What is it for you? If you get nothing else out of today, take that one question and live into it. And if you don't know the answer yet, find out. What is it for you? What's most important? In Islam, the answer is very clear. La ilaha illallah, Muhammadan Rasulullah. There is nothing but the source, God, the one. How did you say it, Anthony? That love which is greater than we can know. That's what matters. And Muhammad is his prophet. Is the prophet of love. La ilaha illallah, Muhammadan Rasulullah. And the thing about us humans, when we get that clarity, we know what's important. What do we do with that? We forget. That's who we are. We humans, we are the great forgetters. How many of you made a New Year's resolution back on January 1st? How are you doing with it now? Let's be honest. How were you doing January 7th? We get this high resolve and this clarity, and then we get caught up in all the distractions, all the things pulling our attention here and there, and we forget. That poet, Mary Oliver, says, what is it you plan to do with your one wild and precious life? What is it? In order to not waste our life, we need to regularly hit that reset button, come on back to center, to our heart, to what we know is really why we are here, what we know is really important. Regularly throughout the day, to stop and come back and say, well, let me check in and remember what matters so I don't waste my day or my week or my month or my life. And for Muslims, this is prayer, salat. It is the second pillar of Islam. The first pillar, la ilaha illallah, to know what matters. And the second pillar is to hit that reset button in order to regularly come back to center and remember what really matters. And for Muslims, this is not an activity in the head. It's an activity of the whole body. Allah Akbar, Allahu Akbar. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Alhamdulillah, Rabbil Alameen. Ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Malik Yawmiddin. Iyaka na'budu wa iyaka nasta'in. As-siratal mustaqim. Siratal ladhina an'amta alayhim. Ghayril maghdubi waladdallin. Amin. Allahu Akbar. Allahu Akbar. Allahu Akbar. Can you imagine how limber you'd be if you did that 17 times a day? And it's done in the direction of Mecca, northeast, more or less. To hit that reset button in order to come back, to hear that voice still and small like we just sang about, to come back to what matters. So practical, I love that, the second pillar of Islam. Islam also reminds us to always be concerned about those who are less well off than ourselves. Over and over in the Quran it says, be concerned about the widows and orphans. Be generous. I brought some soup as a symbol of generosity, giving, donating to food banks, giving to people who need food. I think about Muhammad almost like a spiritual, a social genius. He himself was an orphan. By the time he was 6 years old, he had already lost both his parents. He knew marginality. He knew it. And what happens when there is imbalance in a society where there are some who have a lot and some who don't have enough? What happens here? Those who don't have enough are suffering, aren't they? Out of their lack of nutrition, food, health care, hygiene, educational opportunities, they suffer. And in their suffering, they may experience illness. Their illness doesn't stay there, does it? It spreads to the rest of the people. And in their need, they may choose to engage in criminal activity just to try to put food on the table. And that destabilizes the whole society when you have some without and some with too much. And what about the people with too much? Greed is spiritual bankruptcy. We cannot know well-being in our hearts when we are surrounded with too much while others are suffering. It creates instability. And Muhammad, peace be upon him, he was a spiritual genius, saying, let's bring it back into balance. Let's give. Let's be generous. And this is the third pillar of Islam, zakat, generosity. I love that about Islam.